This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of Phatts TV, sanctioned by PA Phatts and the non-genetically proven son. Any and all words have been authorized during the show. There is nothing off limits. Nobody is restricted from watching and participating in the show. It is a free-for-all. Commencing at the siren, any and all discussions will be legal for an extended period of time. Sports, politics, and any and all controversial topics will be talked about. You have been warned. May God be with us all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Phatts TV on this Tuesday night, April the 20th. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. National Mary Jane Day. National Mary Jane Day. I knew a Mary Jane once. We had coitus. Sirens outside my house. They're probably coming to take me away. What could I say? Another beautiful day in this part of our country. For those of you in the central part, you actually got some snow today in places you don't usually get snow at this time of the year. Sorry. My apologies. Coming to you as always in the upper left-hand portion of the screen from your underground bunker deep in the heart of central Pennsylvania, that is the non-genetically proven sun.
Woo!
Did you golf today in this beautiful weather?
No, I was going to, but I didn't fall asleep till close to 3 a.m. last night because people were screaming the entire night.
Mary Jane was over?
I don't know. There was an apartment like 2 above us that was blasting music.
2 above you?
It was loud.
2 above you?
I always have my window open because our apartment thinks it's okay to still have the heat on. Because we can't control our own thermostat. So the heat's still on. So when the windows aren't open, it gets hot in here.
The underground bunker gets hot.
Yes.
So anyway, for those of you that weren't around today, the verdict was in the CHAUVIN trial, the cop that was accused of murdering George Floyd. He was charged with second-degree murder and, I believe, third-degree murder and manslaughter. Now, for those of you that can remember back to when he first got charged last year, I said that I thought the state was overreaching, charging him with second-degree murder, because I said they were going to have a difficult time proving it. Since that point, I got more educated on Minnesota state law, where there's degrees of there's ramifications in second-degree murder where you don't, the murder could still be, what's the word I want to say, unplanned, I had a good word for it, now I forget the word I wanted to use, but it could still be accidental, and you could still get charged with second-degree murder. So he was found guilty on all 3 counts. Once he was found guilty on the first count of second-degree murder, he was obviously going to get found guilty on third-degree and manslaughter. I mean, probably the right call. I mean, I didn't watch hardly any of the trial. You know, I work for a living, unlike somebody in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. Yeah, you.
I don't see anybody here.
No. Okay. Do you have any opinions? Do you guys out there, the message board is open, have any opinions?
I never ever researched anything about it, so whatever you tell me, sure.
Okay.
I mean, third and manslaughter, yeah, duh. Second, I'd have to research it more, but well, what you're saying, sure.
Sure. So he's going to get sentenced in about 8 weeks. He could potentially receive, I think it's up to 40 years. He probably won't. He may get 20, and they're saying in Minnesota, with good behavior, you usually serve 2/3 of your time. So that ends at least the trial portion. If he was found innocent, the feds could have swooped in and charged him with federal crimes, which I found interesting. Probably hate crimes, I guess. It's going to be interesting to see if there's rioting tonight. Obviously, if he was found innocent, there would have been a lot of rioting around the country tonight. Of course, it's my opinion. There's never justification for destruction of other people's property. And that's what would have happened. Now, our friends up in Portland are basically saying that we're going to riot anyway. Which, that's Portland for you. Shit stain of the United States. Portland. They're right up there with San Francisco. But I want to take this into a different direction. I don't know if you heard from my faithful viewers out there, Congresswoman, flamest, 80-some-year-old Maxine Waters came out Saturday night, and she had some comments that I think are just borderline disgusting. Somebody in Congress should not say what she said. Congress, you're supposed to keep an air of civility, not be a flamethrower like she is. So there's a tape out there. It's about 1 minute and 7 seconds long. So I'm going to play that. I haven't listened to the whole thing. So I hope it's what she says that I want to catch is on there. But you would think that it is. This tape is from our friends at the Communist News Network, also known as CNN. So here we go.
Looking for a guilty verdict. We're looking for a guilty verdict, and we're looking to see if all of the talk that took place and has been taking place after they saw what happened to George Floyd, if nothing does not happen, then we know that we've got to not only stay in the street, but we've got to fight for justice. But I am very hopeful, and I hope that we're going to get a verdict that is say guilty, guilty, guilty. And if we don't, we cannot go away.
And not just manslaughter, right? I mean...
Oh, no, not manslaughter. No. This is guilty for murder. I don't know whether it's in the first degree, but as far as I'm concerned, it's first degree.
Congresswoman, what happens if we do not get what you just told? What should the people do? What should protesters on the street do?
I didn't hear you.
What happens?
What should protesters do?
Well, we got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
We've got to get more confrontational. How much more confrontational do you want to get, Miss Waters, Congresswoman? How many of our cities have already burned, Congresswoman? Because certain people have been confrontational. Protesting in the streets? Great. Super. Go for it. I'm there with you. Violence against innocent people? You don't have me there. You don't. I don't like what Chauvin did. I don't like what George Floyd did to a pregnant woman years before. Well, let's admit it, he was a criminal. Then we had another kook from California. You may know her as Drunken Nancy. After the verdict was read, let me find that video quick. Let's see here. By the way, our president is speaking now. Actually, let's. Is this live? Let's listen if I could bring this in quick, what our president has to say. Right now, the real president, Kamala, is speaking. At least I think. Let's see if we could bring this in quick. Gotta jump through a bunch of hoops. Come on, I jumped through your hoop. Never mind. I jumped through the hoops and it still didn't start.
You waddled through the hoops.
Good word. Good word for it. Let's see if I can find it quick on YouTube. Let's wait for the ad to play, of course.
Part of George Floyd's
Again,
legacy.
the real President Kamala is speaking
And
right
our
now.
job now is to honor it and to honor him. Thank you. And now it is my great honor to introduce the President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Good timing. The real president just got done, and now the fake president gets to talk. After some guy with 2 masks cleans the podium.
Today, a jury in Minnesota found former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin guilty on all counts in the murder of George Floyd last May. It was a murder in the full light of day, and it ripped the blinders off for the whole world to see. The systemic racism the Vice President just referred to. The systemic racism is a stain on our nation's soul. The knee on the neck of justice for Black Americans. Profound fear and trauma. The pain, the exhaustion that Black and brown Americans experience every single day. The murder of George Floyd launched a summer of protest we hadn't seen since the civil rights era in the 60s. Protests that unified people of every race and generation in peace and with purpose to say enough, enough, enough of this senseless killings. Today's verdict is a step forward. I just spoke with the governor of Minnesota, who thanked me for the close work with his team. And I also spoke with George Floyd's family again. A remarkable family of extraordinary courage. Nothing can ever bring their brother, their father back. But this can be a giant step forward in the march toward justice in America. Let's also be clear that such a verdict is also much too rare. For so many people, it seems like it took a unique and extraordinary convergence of factors. A brave young woman with a smartphone camera, a crowd that was traumatized witnesses, a murder that lasts almost 10 minutes in broad daylight for ultimately the whole world to see. Officers standing up and testifying against a fellow officer instead of just closing ranks, which should be commended. A jury who heard the evidence carried out their civic duty in the midst of an extraordinary moment, under extraordinary pressure. For so many, it feels like it took all of that for the judicial system to deliver a just basic accountability. We saw how traumatic and exhausting just watching the trial was for so many people. Think about it, those of you who are listening. Think about how traumatic it was for you. You weren't there. You didn't know any of the people. But it was difficult, especially for the witnesses who had to relive that day. It's a trauma. On top of the fear so many people of color live with every day when they go to sleep at night and pray for the safety of themselves and their loved ones. Again, as we saw in this trial from the fellow police officers who testified, most men and women who wear the badge serve their communities honorably. But those few who fail to meet that standard must be held accountable, and they were today. One was. No one should be above the law. And today's verdict sends that message. But it's not enough. We can't stop here. In order to deliver real change and reform, we can and we must do more to reduce the likelihood that tragedies like this will ever happen and occur again. To ensure that black and brown people, or anyone, so they don't fear the interactions with law enforcement, that they don't have to wake up knowing that they can lose their very life in the course of just living their life. They don't have to worry about whether their sons or daughters will come home after a grocery store run, or just walking down the street, or driving their car, or playing in the park, or just sleeping at home. And this takes acknowledging and confronting head-on systemic racism and the racial disparities that exist in policing and in our criminal justice system more broadly. You know, state and local government and law enforcement needs to step up, but so does the federal government. That's why I've appointed the leadership of the Justice Department that I have, that is fully committed to restoring trust between law enforcement and the community they are sworn to serve and protect. I have complete confidence in the Attorney General, General Garland's leadership and commitment. I've also nominated two key Justice Department nominees, Vanita Gupta and Kristen Clark, who are eminently qualified, highly respected lawyers who have spent their entire careers fighting to advance racial equity and justice. Vanita and Kristen have the experience and the skill necessary to advance our administration's priorities to root out unconstitutional policing and reform our criminal justice system, and they deserve to be confirmed. We also need Congress to act. George Floyd was murdered almost a year ago. There's meaningful police reform legislation in his name. You just heard the Vice President speak of it. She helped write it. Legislation to tackle systemic misconduct in police departments, to restore trust between law enforcement and the people they're entrusted to serve and protect. But it shouldn't take a whole year to get this done. In my conversations with the Floyd family, and I spoke with them again today, I assure them we're going to continue to fight for the passage of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act so I can sign it into law as quickly as possible. There's more to do. Finally, it's the work we do every day to change hearts and minds as well as laws and policies. That's the work we have to do. Only then will full justice and full equality be delivered to all Americans. And that's what I just discussed with the Floyd family. The guilty verdict does not bring back George. But through the family's pain, they're finding purpose. So George's legacy will not be just about his death, but about what we must do in his memory. I also spoke to Gianna, George's young daughter again. When I met her last year, I've said this before at George's funeral, I told her how brave I thought she was. And I sort of...
All right, I can't watch any more of that crap. That's enough of that.
I heard one thing in there that I want to mention.
Yeah?
Nobody is above the law. Where's Hunter?
Yeah. Well, we all know where he is today. It's 420.
Okay. Why isn't he in jail? Why isn't this guy in jail?
Right. Yeah. So there's a police act named after George Floyd. A piece of legislation named after a criminal. Good job. Now, let me remind you guys out there that last year, a senator by the name of Tim Scott, by the way, who's black, submitted a piece of legislation for police reform. That I will guarantee you this right now, that legislation would have gotten 100% Democratic approval in both houses of Congress. But one thing prevented it from happening. Do you happen to know what that is, non-genetically proven son? It's okay to say no.
Well, the Democrats didn't control the Senate when that would have went through. So, and they didn't control the House, like the president either. So it's a little hard for.
Well, they did control the House.
I meant the presidency.
Yeah.
One
thing stopped it from getting unanimous Democratic support.
I couldn't tell you what it is.
Tim Scott is a black Republican.
My God.
And the Democrats in the Senate filibustered it. If Tim Scott was a black Democrat, they all would have supported it. They didn't want to give former President Trump a victory in an election year. No, there's no politics involved in this. No. That's why Washington, D.C. disgusts me so. It disgusts me. Watching those two talk disgusts me. The real President Harris and the fake President Biden. It's disgusting. So anyway, let me find now what I wanted to find with Drunken Nancy here.
She's above the law too, apparently.
Oh, of course she is.
But nobody's above the law.
Of course. Oh, we could play a video by AOC. She says, ooh, I might actually want to play this. She says it's not justice. Okay. All right. So, ooh, this is actually a little
model
wrong.
That you are.
Hold on. Hush, Nancy, hush. 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 Let's see what Nancy has to say. This is going to make you laugh. If it'll play. Come on. Let's come back to us for a second. Till I can get it to play. Come on, Crazy Nancy. Start playing. Really? You just want to sit there and spin and spin and spin and spin and spin?
Thank you. God bless you for your grace and your dignity, for the model that you are, for appealing for justice in the most dignified way. They are in search of justice then, and now they see this giant step. But as our colleagues have said, It's not over. They complimented the Congressional Black Caucus for its role that it has played in all of this. They're eager to see Karen Bass's George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed and signed by the president into law. All of them. Well, Pelosi has become a star. Rodney and Terrence, the brothers. Bridget is their sister. We all know Ketta, who's a force of nature within the family. But Gianna, his daughter, Gianna, to see this justice on behalf of her father. His name synonymous with justice and dignity and grace and prayerfulness. So we thank God. We thank Jesus, because we were praying to him all along. Right, darling? We thank God. They are people of faith. They conveyed that to me on the phone, but they've conveyed it all along. So as it'll be 8 weeks, according to what the judge said on this, before we know the sentencing, but that's part of the justice of it all as well. Mr. Clyburn has been a solid, steady force for all of us here, because this was a traumatic. My little granddaughter, who just turned 12, she said, "Why is it taking so long?" It didn't take that long.
Oh, I'm sure.
We all saw
her
it
little
on
granddaughter
TV.
said that.
We saw it happen, and thank God, the jury validated what we saw. So again, thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice, for being there to call out to your mom. How heartbreaking was that? Call out for your mom. I can't breathe. But because of you, and because of thousands, millions of people around the world who came out for justice, your name will always be synonymous with justice. To them, thank you. God bless you for your grace and your dignity, for the model that you are.
Now, how the hell did that happen? Stick with me, guys. I don't have a picture at the moment. We have Crazy Nancy up there as our picture right now. This is interesting. Wow. All right, guys, stick with me. I'm going to have to take the feed down, I guess. We'll be right back. All right. We're back. Sorry about that. The whole system froze. Crazy Nancy gave me a virus.
I don't see you on Skype.
That's interesting. I have me up there on the camera.
I see us on the live stream.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. You don't need to see me.
No.
That was interesting. The whole system. Crazy Nancy didn't like that I was playing. Her.
Clearly.
And then it wouldn't let me shut it down. That was weird. So, we have a criminal act now named after a criminal. And Nancy wants to thank George Floyd for sacrificing his life, and that he was calling for his mommy as he was dying. Was he calling for his mommy when he was holding a gun at a pregnant woman's belly?
Gonna say no.
Is there racism in this country? Yes, absolutely there is. It's a shame that there is. It's a shame that there's white people that don't like black people, and black people that don't like white people, and brown people that don't like blacks and whites that don't like browns, and blacks that don't like browns. And nobody likes the green people. It's a shame that people are like that. It really is. I mean, I grew up where color didn't matter. The color of a man's skin doesn't matter. It's what's on the inside, not the outside. I mean, I don't know. Now they want to give reparations to slaves. Well, you know what? I grew up in a free state. I'm sure I had relatives that fought in the Civil War. Maybe even died in the Civil War. And now some of my tax money is going to go pay reparations for somebody who wasn't a slave now? That are alive now? Oh, if we're going to do that, why don't we make the states where slavery was legal pay for it?
Probably make that would, if you're going to do it, that would probably make the most sense. But there's no reason to do it. If my Joe Schmo buddy was brown, and his great grandfather was a slave, I would find it hard to believe that he would really care about, you don't need money. I mean, yeah, like, that sucks. But it's like, you don't need money for it.
Yes. So there still is some protests going around the country tonight. There's a few of them in New York City. So we'll see once it gets dark what actually happens. Obviously, if anything happens, it'll be a lot less than it would have been if he was found innocent. Obviously.
Yeah.
So I read something interesting as I was scrolling through the news feed today. The president of Chad.
Okay.
Now, I'm not talking about Chaz, which was in Portland last year. Remember Chaz? I was going to fly my dragon out there.
Right.
Remember that? Break that up. So apparently the country of Chad still is in the 1100s and 1200s and 900s and 800s and 700s and the time of kings.
Mm-hmm.
The president of Chad, his last name is Idris. May not have pronounced that right, but it's spelled Idriss. Deby, D-E-B-Y, D-B, was killed in clashes with rebels.
Oh?
Did he, summon his bannermen? Did they come in with their banners? Kind of reminds you of, the days of kings.
Right.
Interesting. I believe his son took over, by the way.
Okay.
For him. So he could be a king.
Could be.
Yes. Oh, lordy, 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 lordy. I don't know. Do you guys have anything to say out there? Anything? Anybody? Bueller? No? No? Our friend Dogecoin, this was supposed to be Doge Day.
Doge Day.
Doge Day. What did you buy Dogecoin at last year? Was it last year or was it 2 years ago?
It's about a year and a half maybe ago.
Okay. Point what?
0.002.
So, 2/100ths of a cent.
I put $25 into it. And I got like 12,000 some shares.
2/100ths of a cent.
Yep.
So, if you had held that, let's just say instead of, I don't even know what the heck I'm typing here. Let's just say instead of,
I sold it around 8 cents for around $1,000.
yes, good profit.
Yes.
But let's just say you sunk $1,000 into it instead of $25.
Okay.
Now, when you sold it at 8 cents, that's the highest it ever was.
At the time, yes.
At the time. It eventually got up to 9 cents.
About a week or so later, yeah, and then it kind of dipped back down to 5.
Yeah.
And that's where it sat for a while.
And then it got up to 6, and then it kept bouncing between 6 and 7, and then we'll go back to 5, and yada, 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 yada. So, then last week it started going up. So, I'm not going to tell people what it went up to quite yet. But if you took $1,000 and you said you paid 0.002.
Right.
You're sure about that?
0.002.
So you would have had 500,000 Dogecoins.
Okay.
You'd be sitting on a cool $235,000 right now. Dogecoin last week got up to 47 cents.
I told some people, like, there are people that are now billionaires off of a meme.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there had to be people, you know, if I had billions of dollars, like, I'll put a couple million to this. If it ever grows to a few cents, I'll triple my money, whatever.
Okay, hold on. Nobody who's a billionaire is going to be putting their money into Dogecoin.
You want to bet?
Yeah, Elon Musk is not a billionaire.
Elon Musk definitely had money in Dogecoin because he's the only reason it went up in the first.
Said he's not a billionaire. Actually, he probably is by now. Yes, there's speculation that he owned, like, out of everybody that owns Dogecoin, he owned the most of it. So he controls how it goes, and when he just sends out a tweet, Dogecoin goes up.
All he used to say is Dogecoin.
Yes. And Dogecoin goes up. So anyway, today was supposed to be Doge Day, 420.
Yeah.
And they were going to try to push to get Dogecoin to get up to $1 today. Well, that fizzled like a lead balloon.
Yeah.
I think it touched 40 cents briefly this morning. And for a while, it was back down to 25 cents. So, sorry, Dozers. Your plan didn't work. Too good. Sorry.
No. They didn't have enough notice. They only really said something like 2 days ago.
No. That's been out for a couple weeks. Where have you been?
I got out of Dogecoin a long time ago. I don't watch anything about Dogecoin anymore.
Oh, maybe you should.
I took my $1,000 profit. I was pretty happy about it.
Holy
I was waiting
shit.
for it to drop back to like 2 cents before I sunk another 500 into it.
Pennsylvania Senator Bob Casey woke up and issued a statement on the Chauvin trial. Wow. He finally woke up. What do you know?
Good for him.
What do you know? What do you know? Now, of course, So, on Thursday's show, we have something very important to talk about. We have the finals of the sitcom bracket.
I was going to say, no, it's not your bowel movement.
That is important. Bowel movements are very important.
Okay.
Just try to have at least one a day.
Okay.
One a day. So if you haven't voted yet in the sitcom bracket, you could go to my personal Facebook page if you know who I am, or you could go to the Phatts TV group page or the Phatts TV regular page, and you'll see the link. Click, vote to see who your favorite sitcom bracket is. The finals, which was kind of predictable for people my age, is MASH versus All in the Family. So it'll be interesting to see who wins that.
We're really good at picking seeds, aren't we?
I am. At least number one seeds. Now remember, for those of you that were around, we only picked what the number one seeds were. And then we grouped the next, like 2, 3, 4 went into a group, 5, 6, 7 went into a group, and so on, so on, so on, until we got to 16. And then we let a random number generator decide where they got seated. So all we did was pick the number one. And the number ones were MASH was the overall number one seed. All in the Family was the overall number 2 seed. I Love Lucy was the overall number 3 seed. And Happy Days was the overall number 4 seed. So they were all number ones in the bracket. So once that bracket ends, we'll be starting another one of sitcoms from the 90s through today. So we have to start using our brains on who we think the number one seeds are going to be. So if you guys have any idea, let me know. Obviously, one of the number one seeds is going to be Seinfeld. Probably, I got to imagine The Office will be there. The other two are debatable. I'll be the first to admit there's not many sitcoms from today's day and age that I watch. So I'm really going to need your help on this.
Big Bang could be a number one seed.
Could be.
Maybe.
It could be. That's one of the only ones that I watch. Yeah. Sheldon reminds me of me. Very smart.
I don't think yet.
Smart and socially awkward.
Young Sheldon, like 10.
Yeah, smart and socially awkward.
I don't think you could build a nuclear reactor in your garage when you were 10.
I couldn't. I did it at 6.
I did it at 6 because you knew those things were in smoke detectors, right?
I was able to get the blueprints from 3 Mile Island at 6. Right after they had their accident up there, or right before they had their accident.
All right.
And, yeah. They don't call me Oppenheimer Jr. for nothing. I know you don't get that joke.
No.
Google Oppenheimer and see what comes up.
Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer.
Okay, what about him?
Well, he's known as something. He's the father of basically the hydrogen bomb.
I know, I'm reading that.
So like I said, they don't call me Oppenheimer Jr. for nothing.
That's it? Just the hydrogen bomb? I created the Tsar bomb.
The Tsar bomb? What?
Tsar bomb.
Tsar bomb. Didn't Obama create the Tsar bomb? What?
Tsar bomb is like 100 times bigger than a hydrogen bomb.
Okay.
So.
That'd be a big bomb. I mean, let's remember I was 6 at the time. Couldn't create something huge. Couldn't lift it.
Couldn't lift it.
So our message board is pretty dead tonight, unfortunately.
Boo.
Boo as always. Shame. We're debating over the summer months of going potentially to just 1 day a week for now. We'll mess around with that idea since somebody hopefully will be interning somewhere over the summertime. The person in the upper left-hand corner. Yes, you.
Is there still somebody in my room that I cannot see?
I see dead people.
Nice.
From that movie. I see dead people.
What movie is it?
I don't know. Your mother was always a fan of the movie.
The Sixth Sense.
The Sixth Sense. There you go. I see dead people. Haley Joel Osment. I see dead people. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for tonight. Thursday, like I said, we will have the finals of the sitcom bracket. And who else knows what we're going to talk about? I got a lot of feedback on the last show. People liked that I was a little riled up about some things.
Riled up.
I was riled up. Yeah.
Why don't you look into the George Floyd Police Reform Act?
I will not be looking at the George Floyd Police Reform Act.
I'm gonna presume you'd get riled up because it's probably a load of BS.
I'm sure that it is. So, for my bowling friends out there, and you know who you are, our friend, Jeff Smith, good guy, great guy, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Very knowledgeable in the sport, too. Not like somebody else who wanted to talk about somebody's pattern that he created. That professional fucktoid. There, see, I had to curse once tonight.
There you go.
But anyway, our friend, good friend, Jeff Smith, he runs Pure Pro Shop up in the Lebanon, Pennsylvania area. If you check out his Pure Pro Shop Facebook page tonight at 8:30, he is going to be interviewing PJBT alumnus and now newest member of the 710 Club on the PBA Tour, Anthony Nyer. So I'm sure it'll be an excellent interview. Jeff is really, really good at giving interviews. So if you're not doing anything at 8:30 Eastern Time tonight, pull up the Pure Pro Shop's Facebook page and watch the interview between Jeff and Anthony Nyer. It should be a lot of fun for my bowling fans out there. And even if you're not a bowling fan, you might learn something about the sport of bowling. Maybe. Like I said, Jeff is incredibly knowledgeable about the sport.
I know something you can get riled up about.
What can I get riled up about?
How Penn State can't make logical decisions.
Okay.
They only allow freshmen in the blue and white game.
And they're allowing seniors out of practice.
Seniors at a practice. What about those juniors and sophomores? No? Okay. Cool.
Well, because you guys are the Stepford children, you know.
Their response is, you guys have another year. If you make decisions like that, who says we're going to have more than 5 people in the stadium?
All right. First off, who wants to go watch a practice?
That's what the blue and white game is. It's a practice.
Stop. First off, let me ask you a question. If they open the stadium for you to watch practice, we're talking about practice. Would you actually go watch practice?
It's something, at least.
Would you go watch practice?
If I can get some friends to go, sure.
On a Sunday, I believe it is.
As if I do anything on Sundays.
Oh, you golf.
Ooh.
Depending upon what Sunday it is, you might be bowling.
That's a good one right there.
Well, you are bowling in a couple weeks, 3 weeks. So you
maybe I should actually go throw a bowling ball for the first time in 2 months.
Maybe you should. And yes, the blue-white game is a glorified practice.
It's a glorified practice, but it's something.
Yes. Hey.
The fact they only allowed a hair under 8,000 people in there is pathetic.
Yes. Yes. I get it.
I don't care that they didn't let us in, but the fact, or like, they should have if you wanted to go. Would I have gone? Maybe. But the fact that they were like, nope, only freshmen, that's stupid.
They should have been kicked off campus
anyway. Was pretty funny, though.
Watching what?
Watching them sing the alma mater because none of them knew the words was pretty funny. Because at the end of every event, put your arms around people and you sing the alma mater.
Go ahead, sing the alma mater. Let's see if you know it.
The alma mater.
On the first day of quarantine, Wolf took from me dinner with my family. Is that how the alma mater goes?
It's like, dear glory to my old state is like the first line. I don't know it by heart, though.
I guess my song wasn't the alma mater.
No. To my dear glory old state, I think is the first line.
All right. I'm sure they put the words up on the big board.
Yup.
The question is, the student section, is it facing the big board or is it behind you?
There's two in there, so
okay.
You'll see it.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, until we see you on Thursday, do yourself a favor. Get in some good trouble. Good trouble.
Good trouble.
Not bad trouble. What the hell? Get into bad trouble, too. I'm going to give you guys a mission for you adults. Not you kiddies, you adults.
Okay.
I want you to do two things before Thursday's show.
Okay.
Have a bowel movement and have coitus.
Okay.
That's your task before Thursday's show.
I was going to say maybe a good task would be get someone to watch the show. Someone new.
There you go. I know that's stretching it trying to do that.
Cocksucker.
Cocksuckers. That's right. That's right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you Thursday. Have a great night. And remember, by the way, Trump says he's seriously considering running in 2024. I don't think he's going to run, though. We'll see. Remember, where we go on,
we go all.
Have a great one.